All right, welcome everybody, live from the Man Cave. My name is Paul Knapp, and we have 4 panel guests with us tonight. So before we get started, I wanted to show everybody my new addition to the Man Cave, which nobody's gonna be able to see now that I tested it out because it's backwards, but it does say Man Cave on it. So that was a wasted Amazon buy that I did this week. So who do we have here? Who do we have here with us tonight? We got Pop Locks 4583.
He's doing a commercial spot.
We have Mr. Pat from Elite Action Joe's with us tonight. How you doing, sir? We have Jeff from the Skunk Works. Jeff. Hey. We got Mr. Adam from the Lost Chronicles. Deep inside his dining room again tonight.
Yep.
And we have somebody new tonight. We have our roving reporter, our man on the street, Sergeant Soldier.
Evac Nam.
All right, man. You got your tell us what's happening from the streets, bro. What's happening from the streets before we let you go tonight?
Let's say something about Cotswold. Oh, look at that cocked eyebrow. Skunk Works and them. I have not one, but 2 Han Solos because I put them in GI Joe Marine pants, and I got I had enough left over through Cotswold to make a Space Marine. Believe it or not, y'all know Space Marines, 40K and all that. Space Marine. And then
Soldier from the streets.
One last thing. Hey, Pat.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Pat. Oh, 1/6 scale. Dallas Cowboys football helmet. Hey, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can even make a Magnum PI.
Yep.
Anyway, 2 shout outs. Third Son Books. And these little packages that come from Zukov's Attic. They're not sponsors yet. So that's my report from the street. Just kind of my wrap up of the week of the big highlights.
Thank you, brother. I think we all saw your video this week.
Yeah, y'all.
Johnny.
Yeah, a Johnny Quest.
All right, Sergeant Soldier, I'm gonna have to let you go so we can get another member of the AOA on here.
Not a problem, man. Rip it up.
I want to bring you back every week as a roving reporter from the streets, man.
Highlights from the week. Hey, Pat.
Yeah.
Pat. Thursday nights, man. Show and tell. I'm telling you, man, you could carry a show. Spread the axis of awesome.
That's taking over,
guys. Go ahead and cut me off. Bring in Tom.
All right,
Too much
you gotta hang up, bro.
That fan.
Later, man.
Monday night, baby. Doesn't get any better.
Hey, Paul.
Sir.
I signed a no compete clause, right?
I should have sent one out to all you guys.
Yeah. So I can't, Jim. No compete clause.
Somebody's got to tell Sergeant Shoulder he got to sign off so somebody else can sign off, or he's going to be.
Oh my gosh!
All right, so we do have a special guest tonight, gentlemen. But before we get started, I want to know, as always, what's new in the zoo. Adam, you're up. What you got, bro? Anything new?
Just still working on my Mystery Inc. team. Getting together the villains from season 1, 1969. I got good news from Poplocks 4583. He's going to be sending me my Johnny Quest outfits so I can wrap up that team. So right now, that's what I'm working on. And I got a new photo story. The Joe photo story I'm working on. So.
Right on, bro. Got anything new for us, brother?
Yeah. You guys have seen that?
Yes, sir.
The
Yeah, I
Muscle
saw
Body
that.
Retrofit.
Cool.
I got a video coming. It's pretty cool. And you guys saw this as well. My Overland Explorer outfit. I plan on making one for each of you guys here this summer. So you'll be getting one of those in the mail.
Nice.
Get out of here.
Yep.
Get
I
outta here.
got a special. Well, I've been meaning to do that for a while for everybody, all you guys, because you guys are awesome. And I've kind of got everything together and rounded up. I think each one of you guys, the core members of the group, I'm going to send a special Overland Explorer outfit and a special camouflage pattern for just you. So each person will get a different, unique one for their collection from me to you guys.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, Jeff.
So yeah, be looking for that later on, probably this summer. So
And,
Cool.
and I got
and
a
that's
bunch
why,
of,
and that's why you're the president of the AOA.
well, I don't know if I'm a reluctant president, but
De facto president.
I
By
got a lot of
default,
cool-
bro. By default, you are.
I got a lot of really cool videos to share. So
Pat, you're up. What do you got? New in the zoo. Make it quick.
I got nothing like that, but I got two quick things. So Lockdown Productions just shouted us out, the AOA out in his latest video on his space thing. So you guys check that out. It's in the gag reel at the end. So make sure you watch the whole thing. And also, I wanted to give a quick shout out. You guys saw my video on the comics by Angelo D'Annibale. So he's posting some of those now on YouTube. He doesn't have a lot of subscribers, been on there for a while. So this is his. It's GIJOEAT in caps on YouTube. I know this is probably backwards on there, but
Yeah, it's backwards, bro.
it's GIJOEAT.
around, Pat. Hey,
It's-
Pat, turn that around. I'm sure the ink.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like my
The
light.
ink went through.
Nice.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Hey,
You
that's
almost read it.
actually pretty good.
But anyway, so it's all capitals. But he's posting some of those stories now on his YouTube. I talked to him
Yeah.
yesterday for the first time in a while, and I told him I'd shout him out. So anybody out there watching, GIJOEAT, all caps on YouTube. You can check out those comics that I had on my video. He's starting to put them on YouTube, so check that out.
cool.
Right on. And somebody else joined us real quickly. This old man here. The old man of the sea. The old man of the sea.
Hi-yo.
What's new in the
Jameson's
zoo?
only fan.
Anything on your site? Anything new in the zoo?
The only new thing I've done this week was I have my and I'm not completely finished with it yet, but I'm painting my spider monkey from
Mr. Pete?
Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
He's
take.
told
That
us
video.
like-
That's pretty cool.
So I've been doing that, but other than that, the work is you know, it takes up a lot of time, but we'll get past that
Right on.
eventually.
All right, real quickly, I got our first question for the panel before I pull in the special guest. Your question tonight, gentlemen, is: did you have a favorite school teacher growing up, and why? We're gonna go right back to you.
Yes, I did. And his name was Mr. Bruning, and he was a history teacher. And it was because he actually served in World War II. And
Wow.
so he was a great teacher. He had lots of his own actual real life stories. And he knew how to teach. And I loved history. I was all a part of it. I was a World War II collector of antiques and things when I was a kid, 15, 16, 17 years old. I would bring stuff in. This is high school. I'd bring stuff in for show and tell, and just from World War II thing. And he loved it. I mean, he and I were pretty close as far as just getting along. And I loved history. That was my favorite teacher, my favorite memory.
I've turned the chats on just in case anybody's watching and wants to chat in and say anything. Adam, same question.
That would have to be Mr. Jenkins. Again, history teacher. He was a big 60s hippie liberal, and we would have some very heated debates because you know, my father being special forces and pro-military, we would have some very vivid conversations, but really a good guy, and he was willing to listen to the other side. So yeah, Mr. Jenkins, my history teacher in high school.
Jeff, you got somebody?
So I went to Catholic school for 7 years, and mine was Sister Mary Brendan. She was my 3rd grade teacher, and she was really cool, super disciplined, would, you know, kick your butt if you needed it, but she also tolerated all my wacky off-the-wall questions about religion.
I will give you a heads
No, no.
up.
Pat?
Oh, that's tough. I had a few, but I guess I have to go with Mrs. Johnson from my sophomore English. I did a short story class with her, and she really is the person that encouraged me to stick with writing. She said she thought I had a real talent, and so that inspiration had kept me writing all these years. And finally, when I did my early retirement from the airlines, I've mentioned it before, I've written 7 books, 5 from one series and 2 from another. I have not published yet, but I'm kind of working on it.
That's awesome.
And I'm going to have to go with Miss Cinderelli. She was my 8th grade homeroom teacher and taught a lot of my classes, and we're still friends today. Actually, she's on my Facebook page.
Awesome.
She came to my wedding, so just one of those teachers that, you know, was there for you, and just a good friend now that you know, I'm grown.
Good. That's cool.
That's cool.
All right, so gentlemen, here we go. We are up to our game, Tom's favorite game from What's My Line, the game show from the 50s. I'm not going to give you any hints of our guest tonight, other than, like I said earlier, he does have a YouTube channel. I'm not sure if anybody's subscribed to it. It's growing. It's small, but it's growing. But I think everybody knows him in some way, shape, or form. if that means anything. So
That's weird.
hopefully he's there. I see his background. I'm gonna pull him in right now. Maybe he left us. I don't know if you can check out. He's there, huh? He's gonna be off screen. Are you gonna be off screen for this?
Yeah, I'll be off screen until you guys try to figure out who I am.
All right. Well,
I
I don't know if that helps you guys. It's called Mr. Live the Adventure. And I don't know. Should I leave a screen up or just?
Yeah, I
Can you
wanted
see
Tom
anything?
to see my cryptid vehicle back there.
All right. So remember, guys, it is yes or no questions. I'm going to go right down the line. We are starting off with Pat. You want to ask him a yes or no question. Do not make a guess until we make 2 full rounds of questions. Okay.
Oh,
Pat, you're
wow. I can't think of any questions because I just don't understand what, like you said, we all know him, but probably don't subscribe. So I'm confused. I'm going to pass my first question.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm confused why that is something. I pass for now. Come back to me at the end.
All right. Let's go with Skunk Works. Ask him a question. Yes or no?
Is your Cryptid Hunter vehicle there? Is that a former Fisher Price Imaginext vehicle?
It is. It is definitely. I think it's either Imaginext or Rescue Heroes. I'm not sure which one it is, but I have a couple. On this one, I really tweaked out. I'm probably going to do a YouTube on it in the very near future to detail everything about it. I've had it and have done this probably several years ago, and I know it's not a yes or no, but you can ding me anytime.
Okay. Just to clarify the rules of the game. You answer yes or no to the question. That's it. You answer yes
Obviously,
or no.
He obviously has not seen 1950s television game show.
So I think he just gave away his age. So yeah. All right. Adam, you're up. Yes or no question.
On your YouTube channel, are a lot of the things you post, are they like still photos of dioramas?
No.
Tom.
Do you do photo stories with your
Yes.
figures and setups?
Yes.
Back to you, Pat, unless you want to pass again.
Have you ever made comic books of your stories?
Yes.
Well, everybody knows who it is now. Jeff, you wanna make a guess?
No, we haven't gone around twice yet.
No. We'll go around twice.
All right, go ahead.
Have you and I ever talked via Facebook or Messenger or anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Adam might not know who he is though.
Did Pat just recently talk about you in your channel?
Yes.
This
Pat,
is
you
awesome.
screwed this way up, dude. You totally screwed this session up, man.
Yeah.
All right, Tom.
Yeah. So since we really all do know, how long have you been collecting?
Well, that's not really yes or no.
Oh, that's true. All right. And that's probably going to come later in the show.
All
Sorry.
right, let me
Yeah,
know.
it is,
I'll let
Tom.
you
The
know.
answer is yes.
Yeah. You have a massive collection. Yes or no?
Yes.
No kidding.
All right. Well, I think we can bring him on screen now if you're willing to sit at your computer.
Look at this guy.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
You anybody want to
I didn't
make
get
a
my
guess
second
on who this might be?
It's Angelo.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Good. How is everybody?
Great.
Good.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on.
It's good to see you.
Dude, I think everybody
Yeah.
knows your comic books, but I don't think a lot of people are aware that you have a YouTube channel. Now, I've been watching it this week very strongly. Saw the new post you put up. Can you give them that link, or do you want to change your name on your?
Yeah, let me
thing?
change the name to the.
So people
to
that
the
are
link.
watching can know that you do have a YouTube channel. And you can talk them through it if you like.
All right, GIJOEAT. Let's see. I guess if it worked, there we go. Look at that. I am tech savvy. The
There
reason
you are.
why the YouTube channel has kind of been defunct for a while, I wasn't very tech savvy, and I do actually a lot of things with tech, but I was not familiar with a lot of the YouTube things. So I started putting on these little short video clips, and I'm trying to get back into it, putting on some longer things, putting my comics on there now, and I'm going to be continuing that till I have all my comic series on there. So there's probably about another 10 more to go. And then I'll be also showcasing a lot of my other things like the custom box sets that I do.
Yeah, your box sets are awesome.
Yeah.
Pat,
Thank you.
Pat
There
did
it
you a
is.
little favor here.
Yeah.
in case
There
you
it is.
G.I. Joe Eat.
Yes,
I had that up at the beginning of the show.
That's what my kids at
G.I.
school
Joe
say. G.I. Joe Eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also does an amazing job on flocking. Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. And that's
Yeah, I think
my shirt. This is my custom shirt. I actually was selling these. The head is actually flocked.
You flocked the head.
Oh.
Yeah.
no way on the shirt.
Right
Oh,
on the
that-
shirt. Yep.
That's awesome.
Right. That has to be that's a first. Is that a first?
I don't know.
I
I
think-
don't know, I've never seen that.
Actually, no.
I went to a couple small little shows and I brought the shirts and I sold all the bigger ones. I have some of the smaller sizes left, but it's such a pain in the butt to try to get them made. And you really, I don't want to charge too much, but you got to make a couple bucks in order to make more.
So, true story. Hot Topic back in the early 2000s used to carry a G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip shirt with a flocked head.
Yes. Was it orange? Was it
Yeah,
orange?
I bought one for my older brother, and he still has it to this day.
Excellent.
That's cool.
Plus, I drew a little.
All right, I'm going to start off with the first question. I guess Adam got called away to dinner or something. He's gone.
Gotta go shopping.
After I ask the first question, if anybody has something on their mind to ask our guest tonight. First off, I always ask all of our special guests, what type of channel do you run, would you say?
Well, the YouTube channel that I have right now is showcasing most of my photo stories, my comics that I made over the last almost 10 years. So it has that. It also has like the custom box sets, and I'm going to be starting to showcase some of the other custom things that I built, like the cryptid vehicle that's behind me. So I'll be showcasing different things. Also, I do a lot of building with diorama building. This whole room that I'm in right now has all different things that I have built. Behind me, you could probably see some of the pillars they were made from railings and the top part was actually a light set that I turned into lamp posts. So I have a lot of different things that I would like to showcase and show people what they can make with just basic everyday things.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Anybody have a question before I go on?
No, just the detail on his sets are amazing, Angelo. I mean, amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Angelo, I got a quick question.
Yep.
How do you make your flocks look so darn good? The mixes look perfect.
That's a trade secret there, brother. I don't do that many. You know, my thing with the flocking, I love to do it. I love to have the guys, you know, bring them back to life. And I take my time and I actually put a lot of flock. I go over it and over and over it again till it's as full as it can possibly be. I do take a little tiny paintbrush afterward, and I kind of maneuver the extraneous flock that's sticking out in different directions into the direction I want it to be.
Cool. They look awesome.
Thank you.
I love looking at them on Instagram. I'll just sit at my desk at work sometimes, and I'm just like, dude, this is wild.
Yeah.
Also, right now, if anybody's watching the live stream, please chat in and ask any questions of our special guest tonight. My next question to you, are you a purist? What I mean by that is, do you mix match your modern stuff with the 60s, 70s stuff? I don't personally. I know Adam does. What about you?
Oh, absolutely mix and match. I mean, because of all the things that are out there today, I couldn't just go back to what they had in the 70s. I'd like to change things up and make them a little bit more modern, especially with the articulation of the figures. I need to have that for the posability. So just for the figures alone, I had to go and mix and match. And most of the things that you can see in my room are a blend of many different brands and a variety of different things. So definitely not a purist. I totally understand the people who are, and kudos to you. It's hard. I think that sometimes it seems that the purists don't really embrace others who are not purists. Just in my honest opinion, I've encountered that a couple of times with some Facebook pages where you try to post a couple things and they're like, "This is not the right," and I'm like, "Sorry." So then I go.
Yeah,
I've
gotten in trouble a couple times with that, so I just dropped those channels, or I just keep them with my 60 stuff.
Yeah.
How about the rest of you guys? Adam, I know you mix and match. Pat, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely do. I love the old stuff, of course, but I when they started making, especially the G.I. Joe made the super articulated body. You know, I picked up some dragon figures in the 21st century, but even that one or 2 years where G.I. Joe did the super articulated, those are my favorite. And I like to mount vintage heads or Cotswold heads on those because of the posability. Like Angelo said, and with the amount of stuff now, like the different uniforms and stuff, like take a 21st century like tiger uniform and, you know, put it on, you know, like an old guy or old stuff. Like I this guy here, I just did a 21st. This is the super articulated Joe body, and I put tons of different heads. This is a 21st century head. I make full teams, and you know, but I also do the other way where I, you know, sometimes I'll use older uniforms on newer guys. Yeah, I just love to mix and match. I try and keep some of my stuff separate, just for collectability in a box. But I definitely, you know, mix and match.
You mentioned Cotswold. We need to thank him this week. If anybody watched the video that he put out on Friday,
Yep.
Sure did.
plugging
Yeah.
not only the AOA but the live stream tonight. So
Yep.
big thank you out to Greg, and
Yep.
definitely, hopefully, one day in the future we'll get him on. Yeah.
I hope.
All right, going back to our special guests. Growing up, were you an indoor kid or an outdoor kid?
Always outside. You were outside until the lights came on, and then you still were out there until mom opened the door, started yelling to get home, time to eat. No, you have to play outside. We got on our bikes, and we all our friends lived close by. We rode our bikes over. We played outside. We played games. We played kick the can. We played kickball. We played everything that you possibly could play outside. And I feel bad for the kids today. It doesn't seem like they have that same type of imagination. I teach, and when I ask the kids, we go outside to play, if they've ever heard any of these games or if they play outside, the only thing they really know is like manhunt. And I'm not too familiar with whatever that is, but it sounds like a hide and seek type of thing. So definitely outside play. Brought the Joe outside. Joe's were always in the dirt, getting buried. So it was good stuff.
That was going to be my next question. Did G.I. Joe go outside? See, I had 2 G.I. Joes that were hand-me-downs from my brother, and they were not allowed to go outside. So, unfortunately, my 1964 original stayed inside. We know the story from Tom last week.
Yeah.
G.I.
Joes were made to be out.
Oh, yeah.
They were made to go outside. And that's why going the earlier question about the purists, I mean, to this day, I still take the stuff outside to do, shoots or, pictures or whatever, play with the grandsons, whatever it is. They have to go outside. They have to be. It's just what they're meant to do.
Yeah. Adam, were you an inside or outside kid?
Oh, definitely outside. I'll just reiterate what Angelo said. I mean, that's exactly right. You stay out until it's dark. Your mom calls you for dinner. And yeah, I mean, you watch your Saturday morning cartoons, which was a couple hours, and then you're outside all day playing Army, taking your Joes out. Yeah, definitely outside.
I don't think kids know playing Army these days.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Jeff, I know you were an outside kid, man.
100%. Still am. My 4-year-old son's a 100% outside kid. I mean, earlier this evening we were out. I was grilling out some food, and he was burying himself in his sand pile for some reason. And
why not? Why
pulling ice out of the gutter, downspout. But yeah, I love being outside. All my toys went outside. I've still got a G.I. Joe buried in my mom and dad's backyard. I know where it is, I think. And this summer, I hope to get out there and dig it up as a video for my channel.
Cool. Absolutely.
And restore it. It's a sea adventure.
If I could jump back in, I just want to talk about with the kids today. What I think the problem it started with obsession with video games and how video games the kids don't use their imagination enough. The games are all the imagination. The games are the stories. The kids no longer need to create those stories in their own mind in order to then reenact it. We had to do that. We had to create those stories. So what I try to do in the classroom, I have 20 plus figures that I bring, and I have a special drawer. I have 2 Jeeps. I have all kinds of figures and clothing and rafts and whatnot. And I encourage my students, I said, take them home and play, take them home, make your own comics with it. And I tried to start a YouTube on that where it has pictures of the stories that the kids actually made. So I'm trying to encourage them to create their own stories and play outside for that imaginative play that it seems that has been going by the wayside.
That's great.
Very cool.
Yeah, very nice.
That's awesome.
I mean, I usually don't ask this of our special guests, but do you want to say what you do for a living in real? Or?
Well, for real, I teach 5th grade. I'm a 5th grade teacher right here in the village of Bolsonsville where I live. Absolutely love it. When I was growing up, school was boring. School was not fun. There was a lot of workbooks and you sat behind your desk. I always vowed that if I ever did something like teach, that my kids would not do that. I do a lot of science experiments. We have a nature trail in the back. I take my Joes out with the kids on the nature trail. I take pictures all the time and I post them about our adventures on the trail. We just launched some rockets this past week, last week at school. making a little catapult system, lever system, where you drop the bag, a sandbag on it, launch the rockets. Everything I do, the kids, the best way to learn is hands-on type learning. You can read something, you learn a little bit. You watch something, you learn a little bit. But when you're doing it and you're in it, it's going to last forever. So that's what I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Dude, man, that's
Okay.
great. And that,
Yeah,
that
that's
kind of
cool.
led you into the comic books, right? To get
Yes,
kids to
sir.
read. I remember your
And when I try, you're always going to encounter some students who are reluctant readers and writers. And I started bringing my comics to school. And what I show them, the kids they're willing to read a comic book. So when I showed them my comics and I said, I made this and you could do the same type of thing. And I show them that by putting the pictures together and putting a dialogue, if you were to pull all the dialogue bubbles out, you have a story. You have a main character. Your main character has a problem. There's events that happen within the course of that story. There's a resolution. So all of those things that would need to be in a story, you can do that in a comic book format, and it gets them, wow, reading and writing can be fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to always be a chore. So I use my comics for that purpose at school.
That's outstanding. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I went to Catholic school for 10 years, and I think if my 5th grade teacher was you, I'd probably read more, but we were forced to read things I didn't care for. So
Yeah.
reading is not, I didn't use it for pleasure, for fantasy or anything. It was more,
Comic books are how I learned to read, actually. My sister
Yeah,
went to
and
the grocery store,
Yeah.
bought me comics all the
Me
time.
too, Jeff.
Me too.
Yep.
Yeah, we would
These
go
are my-
every Sunday. Every Sunday was, there's my comic.
This is my first comic book ever right here.
Woo-hoo.
I'll be honest with you. I was not a comic book guy, but I got a bunch of these.
Every
They're
Sunday.
fantastic.
Every Sunday we would go for a family drive. My dad would say, "Come on, get in the station wagon, we'll go for a drive." And I was like, "Oh man, I don't want to go." But we would always stop at the local Del Gross, a little deli that was around the corner. And I got to run in. I got to buy one comic book, and it was on a rack. And I always got like GI Combat and things like Sergeant Fury and all those awesome comics. And it was the first time I saw a GI Joe comic. It was GI Joe #5. It was a Marvel comic at that time. And I remember when I purchased that, I got really big into collecting all the comics. I have every single one. I have 2 file cabinets of every single GI Joe comic ever made. And I had to go backward after I had #5 to get the others. And it's a great way to embrace and enjoy to read.
That's how I started learning to read. It's like, I don't know about you, I would go to the 7-Eleven and just be amazed at the comic book rack. It was just, it drew me in. I wasn't really much of a reader at the time, but that compelled me to read, and just the stories were just larger than life, and it got me into comics. It got me into, drawing and doing my own comics. But yeah, I remember going to the 7-Eleven just like once a month, waiting for that next issue.
Tom, you look like you got something on your mind to ask our special guest.
I mean, there's a whole lot that I want to ask. Seriously. So, okay, my number one question were you ever in the military?
I was not. When I was born in '69, and you asked before about when I started collecting, and I just wanted to tell this one part of the story. I started collecting when I was probably 8 years old, and my cousins were blowing up their GI Joes with M80s and shooting them with BB guns, and I pieced them together, the pieces and parts, to make a Franken Joe, because I never had my own brand new figure. So that kind of started when I started collecting, and then GI Joe kind of phased out. By the time I was old enough to enjoy and appreciate, they were gone, and they then came out in the '80s with the 3 3/4 inch, which I bought them religiously from 82 to 87. Had everything. And I kept a lot of them in packages because I was getting too old to play with them. And I didn't want my friends to see that I had all these toys. So
Yes.
that continued. And as I started to get older, when they came out with G.I. Joe, they look more like the Barbie. Which ones are they with the rubber eyes?
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. And I almost cried when I went into the KB Toy Hobby and I saw them and I was so excited. And I was like, I couldn't even buy it. I looked at that and I couldn't buy it. When 21st Century Toys, Ultimate Soldier, when they started coming out with their World War II gear and figures, I bought everything World War II. And the reason is, and I want to tell you in regards to the military component, my Uncle John served with the 28th Infantry Division in World War II in the Ardennes during the Battle of the Bulge. And my Uncle John was an amazing person. And I started collecting World War II figures and building dioramas. This whole entire room up here was all World War II. It was all burnt out buildings. I had a Panther tank that was almost 4 feet long. It was huge that I built. So everything I had was revolved around World War II. And he would only tell me the stories about World War II and what he saw because it was so horrific. And he used to say the worst part was it wasn't carrying the base plate. It wasn't carrying the mortar rounds. It was being the guy who was with the binoculars to see if they hit. And he said that was like the worst thing. And he would tell me these stories. And that's when I was really into World War II and collecting World War II figures. When he passed, I went back to Adventure Team. I went back to, that's what I was able to play with outside. And then creating my comic stories started from there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I didn't really answer your question, Tom, but that's.
No, that's great.
That is because really, I was going to ask you how long you have been doing comics, but it sounds like ever since you were just a kid, that's something you've just wanted to do. So that's awesome. That's a great path.
I had the 8mm projector camera. That was my dad's 8mm projector. And I had my 3 3/4 inch figures. And I would do the same thing. And I would write a story. And then I would go out, click, click, move, click, click. And I would do stop motion animation from when I was really young. And I continued on that. I wanted to direct and produce. That was my ultimate goal, was to do that someday. It didn't really pan out, but I still use all of those types of things in everything I do here and at school with the kids.
It's great,
Awesome.
man.
Yeah.
I remember one time as a kid, I think that the most destructive I ever was with a Joe was I shot one out of a potato gun. I had a parachute strapped to him. I put it straight up and I shot him because I wanted it, and it didn't work out very well.
Yeah, we went to, sorry, I know I kind of monopolize conversations. We went to Italy one year, 1978. It was the first year I went to Italy. And I have all of my Italian cousins are in Italy. And I had 3 male cousins.
You're Italian?
No, just a little bit. So we went there, and my 3 male cousins, we always got to bring stuff. Anytime you go, you got to bring stuff. So we went to the local Two Guys. There was a Two Guys department store. And this is 1978. I walk into the Two Guys. There were 3 coffin boxes with Adventure Team G.I. Joes. I wanted them more than anything else. I had never seen one in a store. It was just like, oh my gosh, we bought them. And they all went to Italy. Within the course of the week, they had no clothes. They had no weapons. They had been thrown off the top floor of the apartment complex that they lived in and were destroyed. And I was crushed. So a lot of tragedy with all this collecting. I wonder what happened.
There's some trauma. There's some trauma there.
Yeah.
I got similar trauma.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Really.
But Jeff, you don't collect the World War II stuff or anything military. I mean, all your stories are Adventure Team, right? I mean,
Right. Well, first thing I wanted to tell Angelo. So like I credit Peter from the Score Reviews for helping me basically motivate me to get my own YouTube channel. But when I used to be on Facebook quite a bit several years ago, I used to communicate pretty not regular with you, Angelo, but we talk chat on different Facebook groups and stuff. But your photos, comic stories kind of motivated me to do my photo stories for my YouTube channel. So there's that. As far as World War II stuff goes, I do have World War II stuff in my collection. I've got all the Hasbro Generals, Patton, can't remember Bradley, some of the others, MacArthur. But I have some Dragon models World War II figures. My brother Joel used to do World War II reenactment, so I would buy those for him. But the only one I really have that I've kept, I have an Erwin Rommel figure, which I really, I read his book, the Tank Warfare book. It's a cool figure. Obviously nowadays you can't really share that kind of stuff on your channel, but I have an Erwin Rommel figure, and then I have several World War II GI figures from the American stuff, but I just don't. They're all packed away.
Adam, you're the same way on your channel. You don't do much military stuff. You're all adventures.
No, it's all adventure team, and that's what I grew up with. And it's funny that Jeff said that, because I guess Angelo inspired Jeff, and I was just looking at YouTube, randomly looking at videos, and came across one of Jeff's photo stories, and that motivated me to start a channel and do my photo stories. So it's funny how this it makes a complete circle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had his comics before I knew who he was, to be honest with you, man. I don't know where I found him from, but it was on one of the Facebook pages or something. I was like, dude, that's exactly what we're kind of doing. And this is before I was on the AOA with you guys.
Yeah,
But
Paul.
I was amazed. It was the creek, the Doom Lagoon. It was that photo story that Jeff did.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I was absolutely mind blown. And what I love about it is you can tell a story with just pictures and maybe some background audio. No script, but able to tell a story with that alone was amazing to me. And it's like, okay, that's how I want to do mine. And I don't know, I think me and Jeff are pretty successful at that, but it's a lot of fun. And like I said, it's what I grew up with. So that's my first love. And then second is Migos, but because I was a huge comic book guy growing up as well. But yeah, I love the adventure team. But everything I have is mixed matched, but photo stories are centered around the adventure.
One of you guys' wife is talking in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it ain't mine because I ain't married. So.
That would be my wife. That would be my wife.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
yeah. Adam, tell her we said hi, but we're live right now.
Okay.
So it's funny because, like Angelo, that's sort of how I got started, was with the when 21st Century came out with their World War II stuff, and my grandfather was a Marine in World War II, and that's really what got me going back into the 12-inch figures. And as time passed, I bought as much of that stuff as I could. I still have tons of a box sitting right over there, just filled with it. But eventually, I started going back to my roots. And it's funny because I had just started kind of vamping and buying some adventure team and getting back into it. And then I wanted to do something on the lines of comics or photo stories, and I actually, that's when I can't even remember, Angelo, how we got to talk, and we were emailing, and I was able to purchase some of his custom heads. It had to have been 5-6 years. I don't even remember when, and then we got talking about his comic books, and I bought a whole bunch of them, and we were on pace to get me the whole set. And then I know he's got kids, I got kids, life gets crazy, and we kind of just sort of lost communication. And so when I saw some of his stuff come up, that's why I did the video on his comic books, because that's exactly how I got back into with the Ultimate Soldier stuff, and that led me back to his. And then so technically when I bought those comics from him is when I started taking my adventure team guys and some of my World War IIs and out and just doing photography with it, because my plan was to eventually do comic books similar to his. So it sounds like you inspired a good chunk of us, Angelo. So
definitely,
that's
for sure.
That's pretty impressive.
For sure.
So that's why I wanted to make sure that I gave you the shout out tonight, not knowing that you were going to be here to shout yourself out.
I know that wasn't a setup.
That was
Yeah,
a surprise.
I thank you. Yeah, Pat, I thank you. I loved it. I watched after last week's episode Monday night. And when my name was mentioned and I went back and I found the clip that you did with my comics, I was like, wow, I was all excited. And I'm going to say thanks to you was what motivated me to get going on the YouTube channel again. And right after that, I started blasting. I was going nonstop. You know, my kids at school, they say when Mr. D comes to school in the morning, jacked up on caffeine, look out. Because when I was all jacked up on caffeine, I put all those 12 comics. I took each one of them and I put each one into a slide presentation first. Then I went and found music, and I got to thank my son because he found a site where I could download music free. And then I dumped this music on the background, and all of those were created in the last 2 days. So all of those got on YouTube thanks to Pat to get me interested in doing that again. And what you can do when you're motivated.
I just got a text from Tom. He's saying the chats aren't coming up, but I got the chats there. I don't know why. I was wondering why there was nothing on the chat. I'm sure we got a lot of people watching, man. I apologize, but
I was curious too.
yeah, I mean, I got the chats on. I mean, that's chats off, that's chats on, and nothing's coming up. So, not sure. But hopefully they can watch the live stream. Okay, let's get back to some questions. I know we're getting down to the last 10 minutes or so. I asked this question last week of our guests. I'm going to ask you, do you think the 1/6 scale hobby is dying off?
Do I think it's dying off? I think it was when the classified, G.I. Joe classified started to get big, and it still is. I saw a different direction from 1/6 scale that people are getting into the 1/12. I guess it's easier to store. It's easier to display. Maybe they're cheaper. I don't think so because their prices are pretty astronomical as it is. Do I worry about it? I worry about it because we're getting older. And I try to get my kids at school interested and involved in 1/6 scale. I think it's really neat to be able to, have the imagination and create those stories, and they have interchangeable clothing and you can accessories and all these different things you can do with them. But unless that someone's shown that, unless someone is taught how to play with those types of toys, I feel it's starting to fizzle. And it's not, I'm just trying to think of,
You want me to go with you?
Huh?
the reasoning behind it is that
I'll leave here and I'll go with you.
we're getting older, and there's not enough people coming up. And my boys I really did. I tried with the G.I. Joe, Sigma 6, 3 3/4, then the 12-inch, nothing.
I think what you said earlier about there's no imagination anymore. All the stories, everything is all pre-written now, whether it's video games or movies, whatever it is, there is a script from beginning to end. And because I noticed that my son was he was born in 87, and so in him coming up, he went outside and played. But now I notice with my grandkids, it's all iPad, it is all everything online, it's everything games, video games, everything. The script is already written, and that's no imagination. They don't even have to use their imaginations anymore.
Yeah.
No, and even when they're playing a game, when the kids want to go outside and have recess, it takes them longer to figure out teams or figure out the rules or figure out what they're going to play than playing. They don't know how to go about playing, having fun, doing things, using that imagination, because someone's not there to instruct them and tell them how to do it. Once that happens, once you're able to,
I think they're missing that rugged individualism. It's like they have to be a part of the group. It's like, just go out and do your own thing.
Yep.
I saw that firsthand today, actually. So we got this morning, ate breakfast. We drove 25 minutes to a park in another town. And my son loves to play tag. He loves to play hide and seek. He loves to do all sorts of crazy stuff outside. And he couldn't find any of the kids there to play tag with him. He's like, Daddy, will you play tag with me? I'm like, oh, there's all these kids around here. You can't find anybody to play tag with me. And nobody would play tag with him. He'd go up and he'd ask a kid if he wanted to play tag, and the kid would just look at him. And it's like, holy smokes. And it was like,
Man.
you know, it is. And Angelo's right and Tom's right. And it's just, it's an interesting thing to see as me, because I'm almost 50, but I have a 4-year-old who's going to be 5. So I get to see it in a different light than some of you guys who had kids way younger in life. And it's just it's a wild thing to experience firsthand when you have a toddler and you see all these modern kids from that point of view. It's really odd. It's kind of like just an odd thing to experience, actually.
Well, your son's going to grow up to be a leader, and those other kids are going to be out there.
Well, I hope. I'm going to try. I mean, nothing's
Right.
guaranteed.
Those guys are going to grow up, and they're going to be the first ones behind the barbed wire fence.
I hope. I hope. It's a fun
Angelo, I got
thing.
2 more questions for you before we let you go tonight.
All right.
First one, are you working on any current projects right now, or what do you got in the workshop?
In the workshop, I just finished box art for my Infected box set, custom box set. I don't know if you saw it. That was up on YouTube today as well.
Yep.
Yep.
I did a quick ran downstairs. That's another thing. My mind is going nonstop, 24/7. I don't sleep well at night, so I come up with different ideas. So this one was based on, there's a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff going on, and, you know, the zombies and this and that. And I kept thinking, how can I make a set? And then I started watching The Last of Us. And I really thought that was awesome. And I wanted to do something like that, but I didn't have enough time to make it so super detailed. So I used the lichen, like the mosses, to have it come out of the mouth. So it's a pretty cool looking set. I made 2 and sold 2, like right away. So I only make like 3 sets at a time of each one, just because of time, you know, finding the resources that I need to put these items together. But I just finished that. I'm going to be working on getting more things up on YouTube so people can see some of the crazy that I do. Probably going to be writing a new comic. So I got a lot going on.
Very cool. Tom, you made me think of this next question. You and I had a little incident we talked about at our houses this week. Tom and I both had our hot water tanks break, and
The bottoms will let out.
yeah, well, unfortunately in Virginia Beach, hot water tanks are kept in the attic, and
Well,
instead of being smart and putting them in the garages, they put them in the attic. So, you know, everything gravity tends to go down when it
that
comes to
would be
water.
ridiculous.
We put them
That would be
outside.
ridiculous.
We put them outside.
So here's
here
my
in
question
Arizona.
to you, Angelo. Oops, sorry. Here's my question to you, brother. If something would happen and you can only grab one toy,
One toy, holy smack!
now listen, hey, you know, I'm saying, you know, the family's safe, the dog's safe, everything's safe, but you know, heaven forbid there's a fire. You gotta have one toy on your way out. Which one you going for, bro?
Wow. Well, originally it probably would have been the first Adventure Team figure that I had, but now I gotta move. So sorry guys, I'm moving for a second. This figure that I put together, this is my cryptid, and I know Tom says he has a cryptid zoologist. Well, I have a cryptid hunter. My guy's he's a little bit more badass, I think. If you take a look at him,
Look at that.
okay. He's got some from the aliens. He's got a flamethrower, and I think that's the alien detector there, that little thing he's got there. But I think I would probably grab this guy because I spent a lot of time putting him together, and he is now part of my new cryptid series of comics that I started making. One of them you probably saw on Facebook. I have to put it on YouTube. It was one, I called it the Adlet. It was Escape, where it was in the winter, where I was filming. You can see the yellow Adventure Team tent was in it. There's a radio control snowmobiles. Tell me if you guys have seen it.
Yes.
It was an awesome story. I really enjoyed that, but I froze my off because I got right in the water. I was in the water taking these shots, and everything you see, I'm there. I'm in it. I was over at the state park. I had to jump the fence to get next to the water, so I had my chest waders on, and I had my camera, and I was taking pictures of that boat in one of the episodes, episode 2 of the Feathered Serpent that I just posted. That one, if you see that boat, that was a PBR boat that I got from D. Simone that I tweaked out and made it an Amazon boat. So if you
I was going to ask you if that was D. Simone's because I wanted that one for the longest time.
Yeah, and that one I tweaked out because I wanted it for my comic, and it works perfectly. But now I'm doing a whole cryptid thing where I have all these different storylines that go along with it. And I had one, I don't know, I got to post it. I did it over the summer. It was called Quegle, or Cuegle. It was based on an X-File that I saw where every 7 years or so, this monster comes out and eats kids in order to stay alive, in order to continue on. So I
like Jeepers Creepers.
What's that?
Like Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, yep. So I made that one. I don't know if you saw it. And the main baddie in that one was based on a Spawn figure. So that was another great story. So I have a whole bunch I've written. I just have to put them together. But that's going to be my next thing. Like I said, with the cryptid stories. And I've been going and looking up all the worldwide cryptids, not just in North America, but there's a ton.
Well, I know I know Jeff loves them. I love cryptids. I know Pat does. They make for awesome stories, and
Yes,
I've got more cryptids I'm going to be working on this year. But yeah, love anything cryptid.
All right, last question. This question is going to go out to all 5 of you guys, but we'll start with Angelo on it. Last week I asked, did you have a favorite cartoon growing up? This week I'm asking, did you have a favorite board game growing up? A board game?
Yes, sir. Risk. I played
Risk
often. I don't know. I love the little plastic container, and I had all the little pieces in them. I love playing a game of Risk. I don't know if there was something about needing to dominate the world, but that's what my cousin and we played Risk all the time. I remember when I was even at college, I was getting my master's degree, and my wife would be studying, and I found this online Risk game, and I would stay up for hours just to play Risk. So board game was definitely Risk.
Pat, your favorite board game growing up? Still,
not growing up, but Paul gave me this as a gift.
I was gonna say, where'd you get that, bro?
This is my favorite now. But
did you have a favorite one growing up?
Me and my brother had something that was military based, but it was it wasn't Battleship. A Battleship was right up there. But there was some game, and I can't remember the name of it, but it had little army guy movers, and you rolled to move and get to box holes and stuff. I don't know what it was called. I don't remember, but it was some kind of military game. But then probably Battleship was second.
Yeah. Jeff, how about you, bro?
Yeah, Axis and Allies. My brother Joel had that, and he taught me how to play it. And we used to play Axis and Allies upstairs in our room all the time. Learned a lot of strategy with that game. Never won, but I loved it.
Yeah. You look like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of guy. No?
I did, but I got to agree with Angelo. I mean, Risk. That was just
Risk.
That was a fun game. And like I said, I don't know if it was about world domination, but it was fun. And I would like to get together with some, like you guys and play Risk. That would be fun.
I'm there.
Tom, did they have board games when you were growing up?
Candyland.
Candyland?
Candyland's awesome.
No, I'm just kidding you. No, because honestly, the first thing I thought of was Shoots and ladders. No, honestly, the first thing I thought of was Risk. Seriously, Risk. I had a group of 7 or 8 of us guys, and we'd be down in this guy's basement. They had a pool table down there. We would have the Risk game on top of the pool table, and we would play it all weekend. So there was that. And then, so I thought, since Risk, they already said Risk, Battleship was going to be my next guess. And so it's amazing how closely in this group that we've got, that we really do have the same kind of mindset. Seriously.
Yeah.
And none of you guys said my favorite game growing up, which is unusual. Stratego.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
guys-
Stratego's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stratego's great.
Stratego.
That was a great
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Yep.
That's
Love
I
that
think that
one.
was that was based on communism. I couldn't play that.
What the hell are you talking about? Always one in the crowd.
Cats.
One in the crowd. All right, Angelo, Mr. D, it's your
It was
chance
good
to
meeting
shine,
you.
brother.
Good
Thank
good
you
seeing
very
you.
much.
Good
You
talking
have
to
to
you,
give a
man.
little plug. Give a little plug here for your comic book and your YouTube before we sign off.
Well, if anyone's interested in signing on to GI Joe AT on YouTube, you can see some of my comics and some of the things I'm going to be creating and making in the near future. So I want to thank all of you gentlemen for allowing me to be on. I would love to come on again. If not, not as a special guest, just to come on and hang out and talk. It would be great.
Hey,
Awesome.
Paul.
Well, we have the
Paul,
president with us
pleasure.
tonight. We could probably make that happen.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I would love
I
to
was
talk
Sure, what
to
are we?
You're totally
I was going
Axis
to
of
ask, does
Awesome
he have?
material.
Do you have Instagram or Facebook or any of that kind of stuff? Okay,
both. Yeah, both.
all right. I'll get that info. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, if you make a nomination, I think Adam can second it.
Yeah, 100%. Angelo's definitely Axis of Awesome. He's like OG.
I think he's access of awesome material.
Yeah,
Oh,
OG for
absolutely.
the day.
That's my vote.
Woohoo!
All in favor? All in favor? Any nays? All right, whether you wanted to be in or not, Angelo, I think you're
Yeah.
in, bro.
Yeah, we're just
All
a
right, guys. Thank you.
yeah, we're just a
Thank you,
community of awesome dudes.
That's it. That's it, Jeff.
Can you feel the weight on your shoulders?
Keep me
Yeah.
posted. Let me know. Love to talk again.
For sure.
Quick thing that I'd
Yeah.
like to throw to Angelo. Hey, Angelo, I think that program you're talking about with your kids and at school and doing that with the toys and stuff, if you ever need to expand that and you need some figures or stuff like that, reach out and I'd gladly donate some to you to keep that going or grow it. Or
Sure.
and I think probably everybody that's on here now probably
sure.
Yeah.
agree.
That's
We got
very
plenty of
kind.
extra
That's
stuff.
very kind of you. I do appreciate that. I know, I usually start the year out with around 20. At the end of the year, I got maybe half that, and I don't
Yeah.
mind. I don't mind that the kids take them home, as long as they're playing with them. And a couple of my girls just we have this week off of school. So on Friday, a couple of my girls asked Mr. D, can I take some of the figures home and make a video out of it? And I said, absolutely. So,
Awesome.
yeah, it is wonderful. I do appreciate that. If my supply starts to run low, I'll definitely keep you guys in mind.
Let us know.
Very
I
cool.
shall.
I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I'd like to thank our special guest, our newest inductee to the Axis of Awesome. Work to fill out from Tom. He's the secretary of the.
Need your
We will
mailing
hopefully.
address at some point.
We will see you guys same time next week, and hopefully we'll get some more Axis of Awesome people on here. And I apologize to anybody that was chatting on the side for some reason. I don't even see chats here, but I know there was people online because they were sending me text messages. So I apologize for that, but we will hopefully get that fixed by next week. Until next week, gentlemen. Same time, same channel. See
Great
ya.
live
Be
stream.
there.